All right, it's always a camp treat when Brian Baldinger comes here to One Jets Drive. I got some news to report right off the bat here. Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
He's a great football player.
He's a great player. And I was just marveling out there today. He's not just great, but he's entertaining. Because, you're in this business and you see all kinds of levels of play at all positions. But, the way that he still throws the football, the timing, the spin, the release, it's all there. You can't help it. And, that connection that he has and is growing with Garrett Wilson is, it's special. It's special. You could tell. You watched it today. Just the adjustment to these throws, it was fun to watch. You
had an opportunity to visit with him after practice.
Yep.
You and Judy Batista from NFL Network, of course. We love Judy.
Yep.
What were your impressions of where Aaron's at right now?
I think first of all, he's so thoughtful. Honestly, people can have whatever opinion they want about anybody.
Yep.
But when you sit down and talk football with Aaron Rodgers, there's no cliche answers. There's no just, let's get through this. He literally thinks about every question. And then his answers are so thoughtful. And there's one thing after another where, just in the second year here of what they need to do as a team and what can happen here and how players, why they can come together and how they can come together and the new additions in the offense line. He knows every aspect of this.
The greatest players who've ever played this game enjoy the grind the most, don't they?
Yeah, they do. In fact, Aaron was talking about, coming into this league in 2005, whatever, and what practices were like back then.
Yeah.
The two-a-days, the contact. You don't get that now. And so guys like Aaron, who's had to adjust, is every rep's important. You don't get that chance where you have an off day, but, we'll be back at the grind tomorrow. You don't get that. They'll be in full pads on Monday. And he's thankful that he gets a day off tomorrow. But, for the most part, he wanted every rep out there to really – he says he still needs to refine his game.
Yep.
Practice is important. The reps are important. And he's still working on little things, subtle things that maybe somebody else doesn't notice. But even today, obviously we asked him about, the Achilles and coming back. And, at the start of camp, he said he was 5% away. And then he said there was a play today that happened where there was quick pressure up the middle, and it forced him out of the pocket, and he was flushed to his right.
Right.
And he had to get on the horse. He had to explode and move to make a throw over the middle. And he said, that felt good.
Yeah.
That felt good today. That movement that I need to have when things do break down, I got to be able to do that.
How impressive is the arm still at 40? Yeah, this is his 20th NFL year. It doesn't seem like he's lost anything off the fastball.
No, and you can't say that. We saw Brett Favre lose his. We saw Peyton Manning lose his. Not everybody. We saw Drew Brees lose his.
Yeah.
You can't say at this stage after 4 practices that anything is different from the way Aaron throws a ball. It's still magical. The placement, the touch. You saw the play, down the goal line, the 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
So, he got the call for interference, so he got a second shot at the 1-yard line, and he stuck that ball to Alan Lazard off a little play action. But the only way you make that throw is you got to stick it. You can't take any – it's got to hit Lazard right in the chest, and it did. It almost
there's defenders all over the place.
Everywhere. It's got to be really fast. And, just – so there's different types of throws, but that throw, you just see it and you go, the only way they score is if that ball just gets there that fast.
Every time I see pressure, I'm like, defense is going to be in trouble in this one because he sees it's coming, and he knows exactly where the weakness is in your coverage.
Yeah. Now, he sees all 11. He sees the sideline. He sees the substitutions. He knows, look, the game, he knows the game. He knows the game inside and out. He knows how to get I guess here's an old saying. Yeah, I love this saying, but it applies to Aaron. The problem with experiences is that by the time you get enough of it, you're too old to enjoy it. And I feel like with Aaron, all that experience, he can still enjoy it. He can still use it to his advantage whenever he can see the opportunity for an advantage.
So what I see is the opportunity for the Jets to have complementary pieces. For a while now, we've been watching this team have very solid defense paired with special teams. while offensively scuffled due to injuries. We go to last year and the number of quarterbacks you played and the different line combinations. Yeah. But now you watch them, and I know they're in shorts, but you wonder what is the potential of this offense, and when is the last time we've said that about the Jets?
Well, a couple things. One, and Aaron pointed this out, like, okay, you bring in Tyron, you bring in Morgan, you bring in John Simpson, but a lot of guys got a lot of reps last year. Carter Warren played, Wes Schweitzer played, Max Mitchell played. Yep. I mean, you got a lot of guys that got a lot of experience last year. And so now, if something would – and you draft Olu, right? So now if something happens, you feel like you've got depth to hold up and guys that are in the system, been in the system, know the offense. So that's a positive. But the thing that really jumped out was he said, Baldy, sometimes when you're in shorts, the run game sort of suffers. It's kind of hard to see holes. Defense has the advantage. But he said Breece Hall's been saying, like, this looks different.
Yeah.
Like, I can see movement. I see holes. I know where they're at. And so Breece, I feel like, is going to benefit when you talk about this offense. I feel like this season, I know it's his third year, but I think this can be one of those years that you just, you put it up there at or near the top of the record books.
Wow. And he had more than 1,500 yards from scrimmage
last year. Well, he was second
year
to Christian McCaffrey in total yards last year.
Yeah.
Behind a broken line and quarterbacks that threw a grand total of 11 touchdowns. Like, this could be really special.
The roster was pretty good last year, but that's what Aaron has emphasized, that we're better up front. And that just changes the entire dynamic.
Well, I mean, look, if you want to look at the best teams in this league, the teams that are playing in the divisional round, playing in the semifinals, like, you just look at their offensive lines and look at how they play. And you look at Detroit's offensive line right now. You look at Kansas City's offensive line. San Francisco when Trent's in there. Like, you can talk about the quarterbacks all you want in all those places. They had great seasons. But it starts up front, and it always does. When Kansas City got whipped by Tampa in the Super Bowl, they went out and drafted Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, and these guys have played nearly every snap since. And they fixed their line in one offseason, and Mahomes has benefited from it.
What's going to change when these guys get pads on? I mean, we might be running this podcast. You might be listening to it, watching it while the pads are on. But we just got through the acclimation period. Mm-hmm. Now what changes?
Well, what changes is the intensity. Look, when you're in shorts and shoulder pads, if you're walking through, there's a tendency to just mentally lighten up a little bit. When the pads go on and the pop, and you can hear the popping, like, the intensity goes up, the competition goes up, the one-on-ones now, the one-on-ones offensive and defensive line. Is Jermaine Johnson winning? Is Tyron Smith winning? Like, you're trying to win the rep. Now, it's not life or death, but it changes the contact of the game. You hear the contact. Quincy and CJ get to unload. Throws over the middle, all of a sudden aren't going to be so easy. So, like, you want to practice safely, but at the same time, mentally, you step on the field and you're in full pads. You're like, okay, like, I got to bring my A game right here. I got to be on today.
We saw today Jermaine Johnson and John Simpson exchanging pleasantries after a play. I think cooler heads prevailed. I wanted to ask you about Javon Kinlaw. I was amazed the other day after practice when these guys were walking off the field how big of a dude this is. Former first-round pick. That means he has loads of potential. Robert Saleh knows it better than anybody. He coached him up in 2020. You think if you're Kinlaw, you're looking at this is my second chance, a chance at a career breakthrough.
It's a fresh start.
Yeah.
I mean, look, his first 2 years in this league, he was injured a lot. Missed a lot of games, missed a lot of time, had a variety of injuries. He looks healthy. He's a specimen. I feel like this is a chance. They have a great defensive front in San Francisco. They put a lot of resources into it. But this is a chance for him to get more snaps, more meaningful snaps. And, look, if he's going in there for Quinnen Williams and Quinnen needs a blow, you don't want to be that guy where the big plays happen. Like, there's peer pressure that if you're in that second wave of guys up, and they might be mass substitutions, resting your starters. which you have to do to get through a 17-game season. It's a chance for Javon to, like, more than just be a power pusher. He's got to become a better pass rusher, and he's got that chance.
Jermaine Johnson talked about it the other day. Said Tyron Smith is the best pass protector in football. With that being said, how much does that help a guy like him and whomever is out there on the edge going against that guy?
Well, I mean, the first thing is, Tyron is a pro, and you just watch him after practice, work on his craft. Like, the game is highly, highly important. Jermaine's going to go against one of the best. Not to say that Panay or Lane or Trent isn't the best.
Right.
He's going up against the best that practices hard every day. And so you go against the best, you got to bring your best. And just talking to Jermaine during practice today, EA, I feel like his approach is the best approach he's going to have. I think he's studied the game. I think you'll see him in a lot more two-point stance, like the way Von Miller rushes when you're kind of rolling off your foot. If you're waiting on the ball to move to win the rep, you might be too late because these tackles are leaving early. So you better be watching the foot. You better be watching the knee of the offensive tackle. Like, that's going to be your indicator.
Yeah.
I think because he's getting bigger and stronger, I think some of these guys getting off, like, you might see more speed to power from him. But I think you're going to see the very best of Jermaine, and it will actually shock me if he doesn't play at a Pro Bowl level because the talent is there and the system is there to be a Pro Bowl player.
John Franklin Myers, he's in Denver. He was a valuable piece of the defensive line. He's a guy who could line up, set the edge, and then dip inside.
Yep.
You think Jermaine possibly could do that? He talked about the other day that, hey, I'm willing to do anything these guys want me to. Another guy who caught my eye today just looking at him, Michael Clemens has definitely lost some weight.
Yeah.
His body looks a little bit transformed.
Well, he had to be quicker off the edge. He's a guy that can play inside and outside. He's mostly been on the edge. But this is his third year. It's time for Michael to, like, prove that he belongs in this business. We all raved about him when he first came and his work ethic and how hard he played, the serious approach to the game. But, it's about production now. And there's going to be an opportunity for the second wave of guys to come in and get reps, meaningful reps. But I can see Jermaine. Look, you're looking for matchups in this thing.
Yeah.
And so Quinnen is going to draw double teams. You leave Quinnen one-on-one in this business, you put him on a center one-on-one, there's not a center he's not going to beat. I don't care where it and who it's against. So you better give Quinnen that type of attention. And so that's the guy opposite him, whether he's out at end or on the other side at defensive tackle, that guy's going to get a chance to get a one-on-one in a lot of pass protection schemes. And so, you want to be able to win those.
I think Haason Reddick can fit in any defense. He's so talented. Specifically, what do you think about the fit here?
I think it's an awesome fit. I mean, if you look at Haason and Jermaine and, whether it's Lecky or whether it's Kinlaw and Quinnen, yeah. I mean, that's four dudes up front. Like, Haason, look, he broke his thumb or wrist early in the season last year. He was playing with the cast on. I mean, he had 19 and a half sacks a year before. He was a quarterback killer, and he's got such quickness and change of direction. He can rush from anywhere. He's excellent coming off stunts. That's why getting him in here is really important, EA, because those stunts aren't you just don't show up and run these stunts.
Right.
These stunts are based off timing, like the drive. There's different things to look for. You've got to build timing with the guys next to you.
Yeah, so that goes under the radar as far as storyline.
Way under the radar.
Yeah, because there are changes up front, and you do have talented pieces, but oftentimes you're working together.
Well, sometimes you don't even call a stunt. Sometimes you fall into a stunt. If Haason takes an inside rush and he's getting penetration, but there's nobody out there setting the edge, your defense tackle might just see that and play off him.
Okay.
So he might just go, okay, we got to have somebody, if Josh Allen gets out, is containing him. And so that might not even be, an exit call, an end tackle game. That might be something that tackle's got to just realize and fall into. And so there's a lot of communication that has to take place. It starts in meeting rooms, going through tapes. It's out there on the practice field. It's in walkthroughs. It's certainly in the scrimmages and the games. these things are really really valuable.
If you had any question marks about the Jets right now, what would it be?
Well, I mean, it's every team, but there's an injury history here with certain players, and so the injury thing. Outside of that, I feel like the team is very complete. We need Haason in here. We need Michael Williams to keep getting closer and closer and closer to getting out here.
Yep.
And you can't push that. Like I saw him running today. Like he still needs some time, but you want to try to get as many healthy bodies, as much practice time and prep time going into week 1 right now.
What were your thoughts on Tua's new contract? And you just talked to Aaron Rodgers about Jordan Love. Jordan Love celebrating a new deal.
Well, here's the thing, and it's great. I mean, because honestly, the fraternity of players are always pulling for other players.
Yep.
Because honestly, Aaron Rodgers set the bar at one point in his career, and now Joe Burrow, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, like now Tua, Joe, so all these guys are just feeding off the other guys, But the fact is, if you don't have that guy, you can't compete. And so you look at Jordan Love, God bless him. Like nobody knew that he could do what he did until he did it, and now you feel like Green Bay's in good shape. And the fact is, and now Tua got his. So we got some young guys. I mean, these guys aren't 25 years old, and they're getting their second contracts, and their teams are being led by them. But from a league standpoint, we can't have enough great young quarterbacks. It's a quarterback-driven league. The ratings are driven by it. The games are driven by it. Every aspect, fantasy football fans, you get great quarterback play, you're going to get a great game.
Do you like what you see in the AFC at the quarterback position? We can go up and down the list. You talked about Josh Allen before, Aaron Rodgers inside his division. I think most people would make the argument that Tua is not elite, but he certainly had success. Then you go to the AFC North. You got Joe Burrow coming back. You got Deshaun Watson. He's got a chip on his shoulder. In Baltimore, you got a two-time NFL MVP and Lamar Jackson. We can continue.
I mean, look,
C.J. Stroud last year. I mean,
look, it starts with Mahomes. Okay,
yeah.
But Lamar.
I was going to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with Mahomes. But look, Justin Herbert probably going to get the best out of Justin Herbert with Jim Harbaugh out there. Lamar is set. Like the Baltimore Ravens last year led the league in play-action passing. Okay? I mean, it's the threat of their run game gets their deep passing game going. They've got some very good skilled people now. Derrick Henry's there. I'll see Joe Burrow tomorrow.
Yeah.
And look, Jamar Chase came out and said last year when Joe was injured, he said, quote, "I'm open. I'm always bleeping open." Like, these quarterback receiver combinations are dangerous. And you go up and down the roster of these teams right now in the AFC. Josh Allen, we know his talent. We'll see what the receivers emerge. Tua probably has as much speed on his side of the ball as any team that's ever played the game.
Yeah, it's saying something.
Yeah, Devonta Chain and Mostert and Tyreek and Waddle. I mean, it's scary how much speed they have. And so, look, it's only 7 can make it from the AFC. It's going to be highly, highly competitive.
Where are your camp tours taking you? So you said you're going to Cincinnati tomorrow. Where else
I'm
going to
be in Cincinnati. I'm going to be in Tampa, Jacksonville, Atlanta. I'll be at the Hall of Fame game. I'll be with the Giants. I'll be with Buffalo. I'll be in Cleveland for a Houston-Cleveland scrimmage. I'll be in Philly. And then I'm going out west. I'll be here for your scrimmage with Washington on August 8th. I'll be out west doing stuff at our NFL network in Los Angeles, so I hope to see the Chargers and the Rams. The Raiders are out there, so I hope to see them when I'm out there. I should see over half the league.
You love football. How much do you enjoy this time of the year particularly?
You know why I love this time of the year? I mean, I get a chance to go talk to Jermaine Johnson today. I get a chance to spend time with Tyron Smith. We sat down with Aaron Rodgers. It's great to build one-on-one relationships, especially with the young guys. Like I talked to Garrett Wilson today, and Sean Jefferson's is back here. He's a great receiver coach. So I feel like this time of the year to go see some of the veteran players, but meet the young guys. Like I met Olu today for the first time. So I've done the breakdowns on him, and he knows who I am. But it's good to face to face to see him out there working with Morgan and Tyron after practice. Like some of the stuff is just cool to me. And so I really treasure the time I get to spend with some of the coaches. I talked to Jeff Ulbrich for a long time today. I saw Coach Sala. Like, to spend time with the coaches, the players, the new guys. Like, you can't. There's just not enough time to do that.
You know, Brick's got to be chomping at the bit watching Rodgers. It's going to make his defense even better facing a guy like that, but also he's got to be thinking in his head, hey, man, if we get to the regular season and this guy's wheeling and dealing, well, I'm going to be operating.
Like I told Jeff, I said, I can only imagine what you think about what your defense can do if you got a lead. You know, and Aaron Rodgers said, if you get a team down 2 touchdowns in this league right now, you're going to make them one-dimensional. And this team has a chance to step on some throats and put some people away. They haven't had that luxury. And even Jeff, said, look, I got this stuff. It's in the bag. Like, I can't really get to it. We don't have that luxury. But they've got things that they can dial up, if they have that lead. And they have the threat of scoring, 24, 30 points in a game in that range. And they have that chance this year. And this defense has a chance to really put up some numbers, put some teams away, take the ball away when they can make some teams, one-dimensional.
I want to close here. I know you're going to the city. This is always fun. What's your sense as far as the environment in here, maybe the atmosphere at One Jets Drive, that might be different than 2023? Because Robert Saleh's mentioned it, that it feels quieter. There's a sense of calmness. From my money, Baldy, I say that the newness is gone, but these guys could benefit from the experience, everything that he went through last year.
Look, I mean, last year was about a lot of hype. Obviously, Hard Knocks was here, and they do a great job. And the show was good. But that is, you're playing. Not that the players are playing to any of that; they're not. But it's good to have that sort of calmness. They're not there. You don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to worry about guys mic'd up. You can literally go and you have the second year in these systems. So I don't care any offensive player that was here last year. They're not learning a brand new system. Right. They have a familiarity with what's coming. And then you have the bulk of this team is very experienced players on both sides of the ball. It's a very workmanlike approach. But at the same time, because you never got to really see it last year, there's still that excitement that this guy is special. Number 8 makes a difference. What we can be this year can be something that a lot of Jet fans have not witnessed, in their lifetime.
Baldy, you're special too. If anybody sees in the city tonight or on your camp tours, like walking through the airport or anything like that, can they take a selfie?
Absolutely. Yeah, come on.
Can we break it down?
We'll do the breakdowns.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think I did some. Where was I? I met some Jet fans in the Naples airport.
Did you really?
Yeah. I saw some Eagle fans. We took some selfies. The NFL fans. I was over there last week vacationing. Any NFL fan, they got my attention.
Green looks good on you.
It feels good to wear the green. I want to sit in this chair with you. All I can think about, EA, is sitting in this chair with you doing a podcast like this for a meaningful game in January.
Oh,
I'm looking ahead.
Can't wait.
Yeah.